Picture this. It's 1 a.m. Everyone else in your house is fast asleep. It's the night before the big project is due. And of course, everyone in your house is asleep, except you. You're racing to finish that project due at 8 in the morning, all because you decided to wait until 11 p.m. that night to begin it. Now, go back 1 week when you were assigned the project. Did you plan to be up until 2 a.m. completing the project? Did you spend the entire week waiting until the very last minute to start that project? If so, congratulations. You have succeeded in your goal of euphoric self-sabotage. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you didn't plan any of that. That the night you're completing this assignment, you're wondering, why did I wait until now to start the assignment? Does any of this sound familiar? It's happened to all of us. For the adults in the audience who haven't been students in a while, you might relate to this for paying bills, or blowing off work assignments, or not taking your kid to see that movie they wanted to see forever, and then it's too late, and then you have to wait for streaming. But the point is, we've all done it. It first happened to me in 6th grade pre-algebra, when I decided to wait until 5 a.m., the day the assignment was due, to actually begin working on it. It wasn't even a hard assignment. It was an accounting project to plan a fake trip to Disneyland. Really fun, right? But it was the stress of having to do a 2-week project within the span of 3 hours, which inhibited my ability to finish it efficiently. I managed to submit something for passing credit, albeit not with a very high quality. It worked. And I wish I could tell you that that was the only time I procrastinated. I wish I could say that that was a wake-up call for me. I even remember telling my teacher in a message that I had learned my lesson. The reality is that I hadn't. Because this started a 4-year battle with procrastination for me, one that I'm still working to overcome to this day. You see, the solutions we come to when we procrastinate are to work harder, or keep yourself in check, or stay disciplined. Very easy promises to make, but they're much harder ones to keep. And it's taken me years and years of these broken promises and academic struggle and horrible, horrible grades to realize that. So today, I'd like to show you how we can break our large upcoming projects into smaller tasks to avoid procrastinating. And it seems obvious, right? But is it? Or would procrastination be such a widespread issue? Would I be talking to you about finishing work efficiently if it was that easy? But before I explain my solution to you, we need to first understand the issue. We need to investigate why people procrastinate. So according to Pierre Steele, who is a psychologist with the University of Calgary, around 80 to 95% of college students are procrastinators. These are the students who are fighting to get into the most prestigious, the most competitive schools in the world. And they're falling into the same trap that I did in middle school. Why? Because intelligence doesn't beat procrastination. Strategy does. So why do we actively put ourselves in situations of stress? Now the problem is there's no one reason for procrastination. There are the obvious ones, like not being interested in the work you're doing, or being completely sleep deprived, or having 30 million other things to do. But then there are some ones you just wouldn't think of initially, until it actually happens to you. The first one, which I've heard a lot, and I still don't understand it, is that some people find the pressure of a close deadline invigorating, that it actually pushes you to do work better. These people are called active procrastinators. And yes, they choose this lifestyle, and I do not understand it one bit. But it works for them. It's us, the active procrastinators, who we're not doing this for the thrill of it. We're not doing it because we enjoy it. We're doing it because we are horrible at time management and we don't know how to break this cycle. The next one, which I found to be quite funny, is perfectionism. And you would think that wanting to have a good outcome for a project would lead you to work more diligently. But the issue is that when you set unattainable future goals for yourself, it's impossible to overcome. Because why work towards something you know will fail anyway? So then you spend your time doing something you believe to be far more achievable, but in reality, it's way less productive. I used to experience this thing called workload paralysis, where I would have so much work to do, and I didn't think I could do any of it, so I just didn't do any of it. Because scrolling Instagram for an hour is really easy, but doing an assignment you have no hopes of completing isn't. But the reason this work seems insurmountable is because you're looking at the final, refined, perfect version of the assignment, which won't exist without the intermediate steps to get there. Try writing a paper in 40 minutes. It's not impossible. There's a reason they have exams for it. But it's very hard, right? Because you don't get to outline, you don't get to draft anything. Try writing that same paper in 2 weeks with a full draft and outline and rewrite process. The version that was outlined, tested, refined, will be far more compelling, effective, and developed than the half-baked one you made in 40 minutes, no matter how incredible of a writer you are. And I used to be so incredibly scared of bad teacher feedback that I would just end up waiting until the very last minute to do the project, because I didn't want to put all that work in and then get a C on the project. Which, looking back, really bad idea, because it just gave me less time to do the project itself. Now, the last one, which, again, it's really interesting, and when you think about it, really obvious, is the more you do it, the more you do procrastinate, the more you procrastinate, the more inclined you are to do it again. It's this concept called the reinforcement loop. I realized that the more I was getting away with procrastination, the more I would do it. Because it worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But it didn't matter how stressed I was, as long as the assignments were getting done and I was getting the credit for them. Whether I was making excuses to teachers about why I couldn't submit it, or they were just extending the assignments or forgetting to check them, it didn't matter because I was getting the credit for it. But there comes a time when you don't get the credit because the work piles up. Procrastination is a bad habit. Emphasis on habit. You'll do it again and again and again. It's like a drug. You'll feel its rewards in the short term, but it really just sets you up for failure in the long run. Because the work piles up, and after a point, it's really impossible to do work that was due 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, and due today. And at that point, it's almost insurmountable. I remember so many times where I would just get so stressed that I would just not do any of the work. And that's when you start losing credit. Because the people you owe the work to either A, get fed up with you and just remove any credit you could get, or B, they just get genuinely worried about you because you haven't submitted anything in a month. And I've been at this point 5 times in the last 5 years. And it wasn't until I almost failed 8th grade algebra from simply not submitting assignments that I realized it was a real issue. Now, the solutions we come to, the solutions that counselors and teachers have given me, were to work harder, stay disciplined. But I was given the what, not the how. So today, instead of simply telling you my solution, I like to visualize it. So let's go back to the beginning. Picture this. It's 8 a.m. and you've just been assigned a project that's due in a week. For the sake of the example, let's say it's a presentation. Now, you could either procrastinate the project, finish it stressed out of your mind, or you could finish it in a timely and relaxed fashion. Obviously, it's the first one, right? You could see the project as one big project to do at the end of this period, but that frees up your time, and you're probably thinking, that's a great thing, right? Because I have more time. But in reality, it's just time you're putting off doing the project. It's time you're spending not working on the project. It's idle time. It's time you think you have, but really, you're not doing anything. Thinking of your project as only one step is a dangerous mentality that will lead to procrastination no matter what. So instead, break it up. Instead of having one deadline at the end of the 1 week period, break it up into 7 smaller deadlines. And I can guarantee it will make your life easier. Now, it probably looks like more work, right? Because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps in this. But in reality, it's not. Because if you look back at this, you see how big the chunk of time is? Instead of doing one part of the project because you see it as only one part, do the rest of it over the time. Because it gives you more time to reflect on the material, and it makes you have new perspectives. By working on this over the span of the 1 week or 1 month, however long you get, you're giving yourself time to think about it. You're making sure you have a clear map of what you're doing and that you're well on track to finish it. So you're left only thinking about the material and not the crushing pressure of a close deadline. And you will benefit from just doing a bit of work at a time. And I know there are methods people have used, like the Pomodoro method, which requires people work in 25-minute bursts and 5-minute break, 25-minute, 5-minute break, 25-minute. Yeah, you get the point. I found it didn't work for me because it was too time-based. Because I'm in high school now, a lot of my projects or assignments take a long time. And I was so worried during those 25 minutes that once the 25 minutes was up, I would be in the middle of a thought, and I don't want to come back to that. So I would work beyond that. Then during the 5-minute breaks, because I have an incredibly short attention span, I would take that break well beyond 5 minutes. So it didn't really work. That's why instead of splitting it up into time, split it up into the components of the project. Like slide 1, slides 2 through 6, slides 7 through 12, and then make a script and rehearse and present. Because it's just simply more customizable and more flexible. Another way to think of this, weirdly enough, is a dental analogy. You know why we brush our teeth? It's to avoid having to do all that dental work when it's too late. So in a similar fashion to the slides, think of your next dentist appointment as a deadline. And every time you brush your teeth in between then, that's a mini deadline that you're working towards the appointment. You're making it easier and way less painful for you and your dentist when the time comes for the appointment. And I'm sure no one here likes getting a cavity filled, right? So what do I want you to do with this? Well, the end of the school year is coming up. That means more assignments, more tests, more projects. So what I want you to do, similar to the slides I showed you, take 15 minutes from each day and plan out your work. So instead of having this due at the end of whenever it's due, you're left with a more structured guideline. Because it's that simple. It's as easy as brushing your teeth. Deadlines don't control us. We control them. So let's start acting like it. Thank you.